Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, as usual, whatever time of day it is, wherever you are. Welcome to today's Grain Market Blast with myself and the amazing Angie Setzer. As usual, Angie will be providing a rapid roundup of the latest pricing flows, market moving news in agricultural markets. And before we pass over to the happy-go-lucky, always full of joy. Andy, get the legals out the way. Nothing discussed on this basis session constitutes trading or investment advice, or infers any endorsement by POQ or POQ Global Limited, trades POQ or POQ Suite, sorry, um, or indeed the hosts, which, as you know by now, is the amazing Angie and myself. I'm
The
going to say
super
equally
amazing.
amazing Ryan.
You are amazing. Let's
Yeah.
not. It's
So
Friday. We're ready to party. What were you going to say? Were you going to say something and I cut you off before you
No,
could
no, I was
agree
just
to
about
how
to say I'm going
amazing
to
you are?
apologise. I was going to say I was just about to apologise for like the building work that seems to be going on in the background. So I'm going to mute myself and let you crack on.
You gotta love construction. So happy Friday, everyone. If you can indeed call it a happy Friday. I don't know what's going on where you are, but we're gonna head into the weekend here, ready to see what happens with the day ahead. We had mentioned yesterday morning, or I had mentioned yesterday morning to Ryan that I was a little nervous. You know, we are gonna get the Mexico. We got the Mexico, Canada, China tariff is on March 4th. News yesterday, right as we were really at an important level technically to hold in corn. And so, basically it was like kicking a puppy or something. I don't know. I have no good cliche there that anyone's not going to cringe at when I say
Wow,
it. But,
wow.
well, it was going to be baby when I first said it. And I thought puppy. And I was like, oh, gosh, this is a
Oh
car
my.
crash. This is terrible. It's Friday.
Oh
You can tell
God.
my mood. But anyway, it was pretty bad, just to kind of have this sort of we're at the lower end. Sentiment is negative. Some of these traders are underwater and some of the purchases that they had made in corn here. And so, yeah, we broke down below what had been support, kind of made us a little sad, with everything that was going on. And so, just update wise, obviously, President Trump yesterday clarified that Mexico and Canada's tariffs are, in fact, going on March 4th, which is Tuesday. A lot of folks had thought we were just going to kind of ignore that again, I think, or maybe we just got lulled into the false sense of confidence that we would, false sense of security or whatever. But in addition to see the 10% added to China, there was a lot of concern over how they would react. And overnight, of course, the Commerce Ministry said that they will respond, in the ways that they need to. Basically, they said they will take all necessary countermeasures to defend their legitimate rights and interests. But then the Foreign Ministry kind of said, this is going to seriously impact dialogue, guys. Can we go ahead and try to negotiate? And one of the things that I thought was really odd, throughout all of these conversations about everything is we have not heard about any sort of conversation between the administration, that was high level. Bissent was supposed to talk, last Friday, I think, if not 2 Fridays ago. Time flies when you're having this much fun. And a few other folks we'd had, like, today's the day that we're going to talk to, our Chinese counterparts. And we really haven't had any sort of public conversation, any sort of real development there. And so, kind of what we've talked about here with President Trump and Putin and shocking the EU into action and some of these other things, there has been a conversation that yesterday was just kind of more made to shock the system or say to China, like, hey, are you paying attention yet? Obviously, they're paying attention. So it'll be interesting just to see how the conversation evolves today. To me, in true Trump form, I mean, I don't think you resolve the situation ahead of the weekend. I mean, that's what cliffhangers are for. And so I'm,
Exactly that.
I just, why would you do that? That's silly.
Yeah.
Um,
No. Yeah. We want some suspense.
you gotta have the fun that goes along with all of this. And so to me, I think we carry this all the way into Monday with uncertainty and not really knowing how it all comes together. It'll be an interesting timing, or will be interesting timing. We have a couple of different things. We have Zelensky coming to DC supposedly today
Yes.
to sign the mineral deal. And so I think that'll be super huge. You saw President Trump yesterday say, I didn't call him a dictator. And everyone's like, it's in writing right here. Like, on your website, or on your Truth Social, whatever. And he's like, well, I didn't mean it that way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah. No, exactly.
Um,
No. No. So you misunderstood.
yeah, you're just not a dictator. I, barely know her. And so when it comes down to it, Trump was like, I think the relationship between the two, and like we talked about before, Zelensky was kind of going to frog around to a certain extent and find out. And I think he did. I think, and Trump always likes when folks are like, yes, whatever it'll take, let me know, and we'll work to,
Yeah.
make you happy. I guess I don't know how the
Yeah.
better way to say it. So we'll be watching what that looks like today, see what the interaction is between Zelensky and Trump. Trump did say yesterday, like, Putin had no intent of resolving the war. And there's been a few other things that we've seen, though we did get Russia and the US working on restoring normal function to their embassies in both countries, and a few other things that we're seeing that could have value. But overall, to me, I hate to be this person, but the trade thing won't be resolved today. We're going to just get more in the way of some headline. I'm going to call it risk ahead of the weekend, like we said, because you can't
Yeah.
have the suspense if
That's
you
fair.
resolve the situation now. But there are some things that we're watching weather-wise that'll need to be important that we'll have to check in Sunday night to see if they still are prevalent and or present in the forecast and could be problematic. One of the things that I'm watching is in India. We've talked about India several times now with, they're
Yeah.
really, really tight wheat stocks, and they're kind of, functioning with the skin of their teeth when it comes to being able to supply their mills. They've limited the amount of wheat that folks can have on hand, this, that, and the other thing. And so we've seen them be exceptionally dry for all of February, super dry, but temperature wise hasn't been too awful concerning. March now, it does appear that we could see their temperatures creep up towards that 100-degree range for a little bit of time here through the first couple of weeks of March, at least from what the forecasts are indicating, to where they could have some above normal temperatures start to creep in and remain dry. Some of the folks that we're looking at, or some of the information that's out there right now, is kind of hinting towards a 2022 style reduction potentially in India's production. And if that were to happen, then we would finally see a new end user come into the market. And that's what we need. Turkey left, China left. Egypt has been super slow because they have some financial issues. To really get wheat to get another leg up, we need
Right.
to see some sort of issue in India that could potentially lead to, increased demand for them. And that's part of the reason why, not only that, dead cats bounce, obviously, but we're up 7 cents in wheat here this morning. Um, and so we'll just be watching that. Brazilian weather, we're seeing a pretty big high pressure system build in parts of eastern Brazil that's causing some issues. I think I mentioned it yesterday. The NDVI is at one of the lower levels that we've seen for a while here across Mato Grosso. So that'll be super important to pay attention to. I'm going to have a conversation here in about another 10 minutes with our friend Eduardo at AgroInvest to kind of get a feel for what it is that we're looking at, going forward. If it is concerning or if it's far enough east, it's not really hurting that safrina production.
Right.
But it is something. If we turn dry in March, it's very difficult to come back from that because monsoonal flow tends to turn off in April as it is normally. And so if we carry dry weather into throughout the month of March and into April, it could be really interesting to see what happens with safrina production. And so our friend Nico has said, don't sleep on South American weather more than once over the
Yeah.
last week, and I will trust him in that assessment. And so yeah, so we'll be watching. There's a few weather issues that could pop up. We did get the ag outlook form yesterday. A lot of folks wanted to say that the corn sell-off was because of that. I think that was kind of not. I mean, could you have seen some of it? Sure, D corn was down 5, but to see the bulk of selling in old crop and not in new, to me, is not a sign that the market was liquidating because of the
Ah.
boron numbers.
Yeah.
You know
I
what I
got you.
mean? Like that. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get it. Like it was a bad, but correlation, causation, whatever. You know what I mean? And so I think the one thing I want to kind of put out there in corn is that we need this. Like I had a lot of people be like, "Well, you've been really bullish for a while," and I really have like to see the funds as long as what they were at the levels that we were at price wise. It was going to take a pretty major catalyst, like a continuation of
And
Brazil
we
not getting planted.
and
Go
to
ahead.
be fair, you said it. You said exactly that. I
Yes.
think it was a week, maybe 2 weeks ago, when we you brought up like the fund positioning, and you were like, "Look, because they're already now in the market,
Yes.
we're going to need something substantial to then
To put
drive it
another leg
again
in.
higher."
Yeah, and so now you want to see them liquidate. We want nothing more than for them to cut 100,000 contracts off their lawn. You know what I mean? Like shake the
Yeah,
tree,
yeah,
get the weak longs out,
yeah.
let the smart money come in.
Yes, yes,
And
yes.
so, cash market wise to me, I know a lot of people want to point at the weakness in spreads, which should have been a sign that, well, it was a sign that we were probably going to take another leg lower, in my opinion. We're looking at the weakness in spreads in some of these things. I will argue that that's more to do with the aggressive farmer selling that we've seen than an indication of demand or what have you. But it is good. I'm happy. There are a lot of corn bulls that have been saying this market needed to go lower for a good 4 months now. And so it's good. The dog caught the car. But I do think, in the end, we have to pay attention to a lot of things, a lot of factors at play. I'm not saying that we need to run to $6 by any means anytime soon, but I'm definitely not, yeah, yesterday kind of stunk and we may see this thing take another leg. But we have solid fundamental support underneath us. And like I said to someone yesterday, just because it makes you sad doesn't mean it changes the balance sheet.
Yeah, right. It doesn't care about your feelings.
Yes, and another good point someone made, I'm going to steal it from them and say, it's February, not June in the grain markets too, and so there's a whole lot of year ahead of us. And yeah, giddy up, happy Friday. We'll see what the headlines bring today. I'm not really expecting too awful much of a resolution, like I said. And so from an overall standpoint, I think we'll probably just be, I wouldn't be surprised to be back and forth. Maybe we get a recovery on people being excited or thinking that it's a cheap trade. But from a fundamental standpoint today or anything like that, I really couldn't tell you where we close. If you
Sit
told
on
me
your
I had to
hands.
tell you, I would be like, no idea. So your guess will be as good as mine at this point, just because of all of the combinations of factors at play right now that
Right.
are sour and sweet.
Exactly that. Exactly that. Awesome. Well, thank you very. Can I just say as well? So I've just noticed that Chad, that's listening, that is a hell of a fish he's got in his profile
Now
picture.
I'm gonna have to look. That's
Anyway, I digress.
right. I'll just send you the picture of the salmon I caught one time. It's my
Oh, please
one
do.
of
Please
my
do.
yeah. We'll add it to the dog pics. So, but yeah,
Exactly
we'll
that.
we'll see what today brings. I'll be excited to come back Monday. We'll have a heck of a lot more information. Not saying that we'll have any better insight, but we'll have more stuff to talk about at least. I don't know what it'll mean, but
Exactly.
we won't be short of that for a long time. So everyone have a
Awesome.
really good weekend from me and Ryan. I'll let you take it over
Yeah,
from there.
exactly. I echo that sentiment. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in. Angie, just thank you for just being your awesome self as usual this week. And listeners, have a wonderful day. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe, and we'll see you on Monday.
We'll be back Monday. Have a good weekend, guys.
Take care. Bye bye.